Hi, friends. Getting ready for Educator Shabbat. We have our congregant, Pam Himmel, and she is a science teacher at Carwise Middle School in Palm Harbor. And we're going to talk about the challenges of, in honor of our educators, we're going to talk about the challenges of what we're dealing with now. So, Pam, tell us about your life in the last month.
Okay, well, it's been kind of interesting because when we went on spring break, we didn't really know what was going to happen. So a lot of teachers took more stuff than we might have planned on taking home when we went home on spring break. We got told as we were driving home that day that we were going to have an extra week off. During break, right before it ended, we were all told that we could come back to school on that Monday to pick up anything from our classrooms that we needed. A lot of teachers did not take technology home with them. So we had the opportunity to go to school and to pick up whatever technology we wanted. And we were told that after that Monday, we were not going to be allowed back in the building. Staff stayed, a handful of staff and administrators stayed on campus because at our school, they were contacting a lot of parents, and parents could notify the school if they were going to need technology for their families. And our school was distributing some of the laptops that we use within our classrooms. Those were being distributed to families. They were kind of doing drive up, sign for it, and take home technology. So that wouldn't be a block for students. We were given the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday to attend all the virtual staff meetings we needed to attend with our entire staff, with our district's subject area staff, department meetings, grade level meetings, so we could kind of discuss what the expectations were. And at the same time, we had to learn the entire new platform that we were going to be using, because although we used Office 365, most of us didn't actually have our classes loaded into Teams. So the district loaded all the students into Teams. We had to learn all of that. And start to then plan and put together what our lessons were going to be, which meant we also had to really kind of seriously look at what we were going to be teaching and decided what was really relevant, because obviously we couldn't go through content quite the same way we would if we were sitting face to face with the kids. So we have to be ready.
So I have to, since you're a science teacher, I mean, what do you do for labs, or is there any type of project-based learning that the kids do on their own?
Okay, so that's been kind of the part that's really kind of hurt, because I like to do lots of hands-on learning. I'm really, really big on that. I'm also the science fair director for the district, so science experiments are kind of a really big relevance for me. So what I did with the kids at the beginning, in middle school, the science textbook that we use is Discovery Education, and Discovery is completely and totally online. So that was a really big plus. For teachers who didn't use all of the components, they're learning to use more of them. One of the pieces in it allows you to kind of set up groups so that students can actually do group projects together. It took a lot to put together because I individualized this. I set up teams across my classroom, so it wasn't just kids that were in the same class together. I differentiated a lot, so the topics kind of related to where their academic level was, because that's really important. So it was actually setting up 58 separate ones to cover my 162 students. And that was a pretty long chunk of planning, but I gave the kids about 10 days to put it together. So they had a chance to collaborate, work together, and put together these research projects, which were more applications of what we were talking about. So that gave them a group event to do. As far as labs, you know, I kind of had to do something unique. They're in the midst of working on it. I gave them the at-home version for the topic that they were doing. I gave them about 10 different things that they could pick to do, and then gave them a mini poster kind of assignment that they could type into a Word document to let me know what happened. they were not nearly as complex as things I would have done in my classroom,
Yeah.
but they were things that, for the most part, for one of them, they should have had the stuff at home. And I emphasized I didn't want them to tell their parents they had to shop on Amazon for any of the stuff, that they should be picking something that was actually already in their house. They were simple things just to give them the opportunity to do some kind of an activity. So that's coming in this week. So I'll see how that went. In theory, it should have been fabulous. We'll find out whether that's actually what happened.
So you made me think of a particular thing, and that is parents' involvement in their child's education. So have you gotten any feedback from the students and from the parents?
Okay, so there's a handful of parents that are always actively involved in staying on top of what's going on and asking questions and getting involved. I'm not really worried about those kids. I'm not worried about the group of children I have that I always hear from, that are always getting work done, that are always asking questions. Me, out of my 162, 64 students that I have about 32 that I'm not really hearing from. And that's the concern. I'm not hearing from them. I've been calling at home. I'm not getting responses back from parents. I'm not getting responses from emails. I actually put together a really long letter that had detailed information about everything that we've done, with phone numbers that they could get in touch with and how they could reach me. And I actually put them all in the mail, because this is the hard part, is that, you know, when you can meet a child face to face, you can sit and pull them aside and have a conversation and ask what's going on. In this environment, if they don't get in touch with you or they don't respond to anything, we have no idea of actually being able to figure out what's happening and how to support them. So that's been a little difficult because there's a handful of kids I'm really worried about.
So are your classes, are they pre-recorded or are they live so that the kids can like see each other and see you?
Okay, so the way things are set up and the way the district has set things up through Teams is that when we do lessons, and we're supposed to do 2 a week, one should be recorded and one should be a live session. So when we do the live sessions, the district has set it up so that the video for the kids is off. The kids don't have access to video. They do have their mics on so they can join in a conversation. We're supposed to make sure that we're not keeping them for more than 15 minutes, because if they have to do this 7 times during the week and teachers are making these really long, that's just really challenging, especially if you have lots of siblings in the house. So we do that. Anytime I do a live sessions, it is recorded. So if the kids have missed it for some reason, they can still watch it later. I try and keep them short and give everybody an opportunity to either ask questions. A handful of kids don't have microphones on their computers. So there's a chat feature so they can actually just type in and ask a question, or all of them have, I set up a separate Google Voice cell phone. So all of them know that they can actually call me there if they need to and they need my immediate help, that they can get in touch with me that way so I can try and walk them through whatever they might be having an issue with. So one recorded and one live, at least.
Okay, so now is there anything missing? I mean, obviously being with the kids and seeing them, but is there any parts of the curriculum that you that you can't add to it, that the district sort of put the kibosh on?
No, we're really kind of fortunate in science. We've been told that we should cover what we want to. I will tell you, and there might be teachers who don't actually say this out loud, but the fact that we actually get all of the time in May to actually do something with the kids, as opposed to giving it, you know, and losing an entire month to testing, is kind of a major treat. So while we may not be covering it with as many assignments, there's a lot of us who actually feel we're going to actually be able to touch on more subjects, to touch on content, in a little bit more relevant way than spending a lot of time test prep or sitting in empty classrooms because the kids are all testing somewhere else. So none of us are actually really shedding tears about losing all of the testing at the end of the year. I'm just going to be perfectly honest.
Oh.
None of us are missing that part.
Well, so that'll be interesting to see if there are any measurables, any takeaways, and any outcomes that make the lack of testing. It'll be interesting to see if there's any outcome that suggests too much time on testing, which I know teachers.
Well, yeah, all teachers basically know that happens. It's not the amount of testing it is, it's all the extra time we take testing to prepare for the test. Because we do lots of extra tests to prepare for the tests that we're going to test on, and that winds up getting very old. My understanding is that they are planning on doing some kind of a evaluation assessment with the kids when they come back in fall to see where everybody is, so we can identify where gaps are, because there are going to be significant gaps. I mean, it's inevitable. There's going to be significant gaps that are going to happen. There's definitely going to be a little bit more of a summer slide this year than there usually is. So it is going to be important to know where we are, and to then be able to move forward and kind of, you know, touch back and revisit as we try and do new content. We're going to have to make sure that we build up the foundation again too. So that's going to be the challenge when we come back in fall also.
All right, well, I like that. I especially like that you're looking ahead. So I'm gonna thank you for giving all of our members who are missing each other. I know you're missing your students, and anyway, thank you for giving us a bird's eye view into what it is like. And I realize that's just tip of the iceberg of what
it is. And it's hard not to be with the kids. For me, for being with 8th grade, this is a great time of the year. We're celebrating all their stuff. They're excited about moving on to high school. There's lots of end of the year events that we do with them. I have end of the year events I do with the clubs that I sponsor, and none of that is happening. We're not really getting the point to celebrate them the way we would want, which I know the high schools are feeling too. And so that's a little bittersweet. It's a little to not be able to actually have those final moments with any of them.
To have that closure. That
have the closure and to do all of those sentimental goodbyes. We aren't going to get to actually do that. It's a little different when you're doing it over a computer screen.
Yeah. Well, Pam, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Anyway, I'm going to send us off.
Okay. Thank you very much.